Hi, good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Mona Dexter. I'm the Senior Director of Operations and Communications for Hiring Our Heroes at the United States Chamber of Commerce Foundation, and I'd like to welcome you to our virtual career community. Today is Transition Tuesday. We have one of our fantastic partners presenting on some comprehensive programming and support. First of all, we hope that this finds you all safe and well, again, wherever you are. And we thank you for joining us for this session. We couldn't continue to bring our programs and services to you without the incredible partnerships across the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. And with that, one of our nonprofit partners today, Wounded Warrior Project, is going to provide you some more information, not just about their comprehensive services in support of the military community, but specifically about their employment services through their Warriors to Work program. So with that, I would like to turn it over to our partner and colleague, Kevin Rash, to provide a little bit more of a general overview of Wounded Warrior Project in general, what's to come in terms of future programming, and some more information about the Warriors to Work program. And after Kevin's session, he'll speak for a little bit, and then we will open it up to question and answer. So we look forward to the interactive Q&A with you afterwards.
All right, thanks, Mona. Honored to be the first Wounded Warrior Project representative to participate in one of these. I think some of my teammates are also going to be joining me as the weeks go through. I am Kevin Rash. I'm a regional director with the Warriors to Work program for Wounded Warrior Project. I'm down in Jacksonville, Florida. Obviously, this is not our home office, but this is where our home office is. I've been with Wounded Warrior Project for about 5.5 years now in a couple of different programs. In a previous life, I was a Navy guy. I flew helicopters for 22 years. Transitioned out back in 2011 and went through a couple of bumps. I did some government contracting, worked for an engineering firm somewhere along the way, but realized that, transition is not easy. And having organizations out there like Wounded Warrior Project, like Hiring Our Heroes, who help us get through that transition, are integral to making that transition successful. So what I'm going to do today is I've got a video. It makes it a lot easier to show a video with our CEO talking in general about our programs, and it's really targeted towards a transitioning audience. So he does a good job articulating some of our different programs. Then I'm going to take you through a little bit of our programs and more about what we're doing today. Right now, I think everybody understands we're in a kind of new normal operating way of doing business. So I'll walk you through some of the things that we're doing right now, and I'm really going to anchor down on the Warriors to Work program, because again, that's the program I'm associated with, and that's what I'm here for. So again, we've got plenty of time to go through a lot of this stuff. I encourage you to pay attention, ask questions when we get to the end. But I'm really excited about being able to be a part of this and look forward to helping you guys out as best as I can. Without further ado, let's roll the video.
Hi, I'm Mike Lennington. I served as an infantryman in the U.S. Army for 35 years, and I'm now proud to continue my service as the CEO of Wounded Warrior Project. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to speak to you as you begin your transition from uniform service to civilian life, and to remind you that today and through the entirety of your new journey, we are here for you. Wounded Warrior Project is transforming the way America's warriors are empowered, employed, and engaged in their communities. Since 2003, we've been committed to helping warriors like you achieve your highest ambition following your military service. When you're ready to start your next mission, we're ready to serve. Let me share some of the ways we do just that. Every transitioning wounded, ill, or injured veteran has unique challenges and goals. That's why we provide a variety of programs and services to help you and your family take the steps that are right for you. And Wounded Warrior Project registered veterans never pay a penny to participate in our programs. We know that some of the most prevalent, life-altering wounds are the ones that can't be seen. They can also be the hardest to talk about. More than 80% of the warriors we serve are affected by post-traumatic stress, making mental health a top priority for Wounded Warrior Project. We provide mental health care services that fit the unique needs of all post-9/11 veterans. Whether you need someone to talk to or more in-depth clinical treatment, we're committed to getting you the level of care you need and deserve. Wounded Warrior Project is always here for you. We know that the time immediately after your service can feel like a whirlwind. It can be hard to navigate things like VA benefits. Wounded Warrior Project has a team of accredited benefits counselors who will work directly with you to make sure you get all the benefits you've earned and deserve. Once you begin your transition out of the military, it's also natural to think about what comes next for your career. Wounded Warrior Project's Warriors to Work program will guide you through the entire process of finding a job that's right for you, from resume writing to interview preparation. And when you're ready, we'll connect you with employers who are looking to hire people with your skills and experience. Appreciate first of all you guys coming together. Thank you so much for being here. Maintaining a connection with other warriors is a vital part of a successful transition out of the military. That's why one of the most important things we do is bring warriors together in their communities by hosting local events, ranging from sporting events to dinners to family outings. We call this our alumni program. You'll have the opportunity to sign up for these events through our weekly electronic newsletter called The Post. Wounded Warrior Project also has support groups led by volunteers, post 9/11 veterans just like you, in numerous locations throughout the country, keeping you connected to your peers and your community. These are just some of the programs and services we offer. Wounded Warrior Project strives to address each warrior's needs at every step in their journey, and we want you to know you're never alone. When you register, one of our teammates can help you determine what programs may be right for you. We encourage you to look through our program directory to learn more about the ways we can serve you and your family. All Wounded Warrior Project programs are available at no cost to all registered warriors. There are two easy ways to register. You can register online at woundedwarriorproject.org/register, or call the WWP Resource Center at 888-WWP-ALUM. Make sure you have the following documentation ready upon registering. If you have trouble locating any of these documents, our team is here to help. Thank you for your time today. Wounded Warrior Project thanks you for your service, and we look forward to the opportunity to serve you as you begin your next mission in life.
All right, we're back now. Back to our presentation now. So one of the things that we talk about at Wounded Warrior Project, there's only two things written in stone. It's our mission, which is to honor and empower wounded warriors, and it's our core values, which are service, integrity, loyal, innovation, and fun. One of the things that we'll go through now is really how our programs are really specially adapted to serve the needs of the warriors. We're a very data-driven organization. We send out an annual survey to our warriors, asking them all kinds of questions, and we realize that, you know, we want to try and get as much information, but we're also cognizant of not over surveying people and getting too intrusive. But we shape our programs based on what the needs of the warriors are right now, and that allows us to be really agile and adaptive, and we talk about pivots and everything. So really what I'm going to go through now is related to how we're dealing with all the COVID shutdown crisis, whatever you want to call it, how we've adapted some of our programs. So if we'll go to the next slide. One of the things we talk about is every warrior is unique. Mike mentioned that, and having Mike Winnington as a CEO has been fantastic. He's got a depth and breadth of experience that is really fantastic, helps us out a lot in getting our messaging across. As of this morning, we have 141,185 registered warriors in our database. We also have 36,194 family support members. Now, a family support member for us can be anybody. It could be a spouse, it could be a child, it could be a parent. They don't even have to be blood relatives. If somebody designates someone as their family support member, we'll have our programs also serve them as well. The criteria to register is post 9/11, having served on active duty, and having an injury or illness. It's an intentionally gray area in that we recognize there's a lot of issues that contribute to what constitutes an injury or illness. So it's not like a specific VA rating or anything like that. So for those even on active duty, we also serve those that are going to be getting out and knowing that they'll eventually qualify for our criteria post-service. So again, the criteria is there. We'll give you the links at the end on how to register, but it's a very simple process, and it's intentionally so to try and serve as many people as possible. And again, the way we tailor our programs are based on inputs from people like you. So next slide. We used to group our programs into what we called pillars. So we had a mind, a body, an economic empowerment, and an engagement pillar. We've shifted that to areas of focus. What you're going to see, we have 7 primary areas of focus. Within those areas of focus, we have 15 programs as of today. We change. Again, as I say, our programs have evolved. When I started with Wounded Warrior Project, I was with a certification-based education program that's no longer with us. We look and see where the need is, and if there's somebody out there doing it better than us, a lot of times we will forego our programs and we'll collaborate with other programs. We've become very collaborative in the space, especially these past few years. I think one of the things that we're all very proud of is every office has on their wall somewhere. It's a quote that I think it's been attributed to Ronald Reagan, but I think it was really just on his desk. But it says, "There's no limit to how far a man can go or what a man can do if they don't care who gets the credit." And we are all we're disciples of that. We want to collaborate. We want to work with other organizations who can fill gaps that we're not providing. But also, we realize that we're here to serve warriors, and those are our ultimate customers. So it's not what's best for us, it's what's best for the warrior. So when you look at our areas of focus, the connection, we're going to go through each of these relatively briefly. We're going to anchor down on the financial wellness because that's where I work. But some of these other ones may be appropriate for other days, for the Wellness Wednesdays, with our mental health and wellness, and our physical health and wellness, our connection, and even our independence and government relations. So we can go on to the next slide. So this is just the lead into the Connection program. So Connection program, as General Linnington referenced, was with our alumni program. That is our largest program, our biggest footprint. One of the things that we've really been concerned about, which not a big surprise, is isolation. And when warriors isolate, that's not good. So we really try to get them out of their houses, out engaging with other warriors. In these times, it's been a challenge. So we've really had to tailor a lot of our programs to virtual deliveries, just like this. We've had our peer support groups that are led by volunteers that out in the communities where we may not have a brick and mortar office. They're getting together and they're having virtual meetings and talking about what's going on. Those shared experiences really help people as they transition. One of the things that we really just initiated a couple weeks ago is it's an operation check-in. And been here for a few years, we used to have what was called our operation outreach calls, and everybody in the organization, top to bottom, would get assigned about 30 calls a month to make, and it was usually assigned on a warrior's birthday or a family support member's birthday, and we'd call and check in with them, see how it's going, just to stay connected with them. Typically, we get 1 in 4 responding, and a lot of times it was they'd screen their calls, whatever it was. We initiated this operation check-in knowing that there's a lot of other stuff going on right now, and honestly, for the past couple of weeks, I've been making me personally, I've been getting greater than a 50% response rate, and everybody has been overwhelmingly positive. So it's really a testament to the resilience of the warriors that are out there. That we're going through some tough times right now, but they're very positive and they're very optimistic that we're all going to get through this. We're going to be stronger for it on the other side. So again, this is just kind of an example of how we're tailoring our programs in this current situation to really continue to serve and continue to make those connections with warriors. Next slide. The next slide. So mental health and wellness. You may have taken it from the video. Our mental health is really the centerpiece of all of our programs. That is where we have our biggest investment. That's where a lot of our programs are structured. One of the things that I think we've said before is with our 15 different programs, we could theoretically spin them off into 15 standalone nonprofits, but we would never do that because we recognize the benefit of the synergy of having all the programs under one umbrella. We can work together with in my world, with the employment assistance. We recognize there's stressors associated with having a job. There's stressors associated with not having a job. There's stressors of trying to find a job. So all those things that lead into mental health and wellness are things that we need to consider as we develop our programs. When we look at some of the programs that we have right now, our Warrior Care Network, that's a world-class program that we brought on a couple of years ago. It's impressive in that we've gotten 4 renowned teaching hospitals, Mass General up in Boston, Emory in Atlanta, Rush in Chicago, and UCLA in Los Angeles, to actually provide intensive outpatient mental health services on our dime, where it's a heavy investment for us, and it's really the information sharing we've been gathering from that, and the data that we've been collecting from that has been incredible. We're showing lots of progress. We have a whole continuum of care with our mental health programs. We had a team call this afternoon where they talked about our Project Odysseys, which are experiential retreats for warriors to get together and talk about shared experiences. We're now trying to do them virtually. Little challenges in doing some of these programs virtually, but we're going to adapt. Again, innovation is one of our core values. Our WWP Talk program, that's one that was easy to transition virtually. It's a telephonic, basically a program where we reach out to warriors on a routine basis. We talk to them for about 20-30 minutes a week, and just we have a sounding board. They can vent, they can talk about whatever they want to talk about, but they have somebody to talk to. So it's a great program. And then inpatient care and outpatient therapies are other programs. Again, when we get to some of the Wellness Wednesdays presenters, they're going to get a lot more in depth into some of these programs. We can switch to the physical health and wellness. Next slide. In our physical health and wellness, one of these programs, this is one that's really typically outside intensive. Our Soldier Ride is a event where we bring warriors together and they learn about working together. They go biking. There's a bunch of stuff. So that's a tough one to do virtually. There's been talk about a Peloton type presentation or delivery. Our coaching events and online education. Again, I talked about we have a weekly all hands call, and the one today, we actually had one of our physical health and wellness specialists putting us through some exercises we can do working from home, things to work on your upper body, your lower body, your core, and then also some mindfulness practice and stuff. So when you think about some of these deliveries that were typically traditionally all outside engagement, tough to do from your home office, we're finding ways to adapt those programs to continue to serve the warriors. So with that, we can get to the really good stuff, the financial wellness. So again, financial wellness, this is the focus area that I work in. We've got 3 primary programs in there. Our benefits program, which is our VA benefits, they're probably going to come on one of these calls very soon. One of the things that they really like to do is talk to service members as they're in transition. One of the biggest challenges is when you're going through the whole VA process to try and get that service connectedness, and there's no better time to get it connected while you're still connected to the service. So I know a lot of the target audience is typically active duty. It's a great opportunity to talk to somebody who knows the ins and outs of the system, and a lot of the processes, if you know the rules of the game, it makes it a lot easier to understand and play. Our emergency financial assistance program, that's one that we don't proactively advertise, but we did last week. We launched, it was in the media that we just launched a $10 million commitment to serving warriors. We recognize with all the people getting laid off from jobs and all the struggles and all the impact that's going to have on people's financial wellness, that we had the resources to be able to make this commitment. And we're also asking our partners if they can to help us, because what we're trying to target is 10,000 warriors who have those financial needs. They have to fill out a questionnaire, a survey, kind of validate the need, that it's not just one of the things we always talk about with our mission to honor and empower, that make sure we're not enabling. And one of the things that when we look at, if you're giving someone money, you want to make sure that they're being empowered and it's going to be a good investment. So that was they launched that program last week. We all got a notification. We're all working from home, so we don't have as much cross-program integration as we normally would. But we got a notification on a Wednesday evening, like, tune in tomorrow morning for the launch of a new program. It's like, all right, I guess we got a new program coming up. So that's something that we just got an update. And right now, I think as of today, we've already given out $7.4 million, somewhere around that. with claims for up to 9 million already in the system. So that was very quickly disseminated, operationalized, and it's out there. And so far so good. And it sounds like it's helping people. It's good to be a part of an organization that can actually come up with something in a relatively short period of time and execute it. I think for those of us familiar with the government, it's not as quick a process, and having the resources to be able to pivot, as they say, and change your focus and make things happen is really something that we really pride ourselves on. Warriors to Work program. I've been with this program for about 3.5 years now. And again, the focus is on getting warriors and their family members jobs. Over the years of Wounded Warrior Project, we've placed over 15,000 warriors in positions. We have more than a $500 million economic impact, and that's with their starting salaries. One of the things that we look at is with the way we're structured. The way our program is established, is working right now, isn't what it was a couple of years ago. I think one of the things that we're seeing right now is for the past 2 years, we've been really lucky with the unemployment rate being as low as it is, and the veterans unemployment rate being even lower than that. So one of the things we were really targeting was underemployment. And we all always knew that, this low unemployment is not going to last forever. We just didn't think it was going to change this quickly and this severely. So we have to adapt our programs. The way we're structured, we've got about 43 people on our team. As of today, and for about the next 48 hours, we are actually fully staffed for the first time in anyone's memory. We do have one teammate who's going to be retiring in the next couple of days, but we're a pretty robust team. The way we're structured, I have a director out in San Diego. I'm one of the regional directors, one of the 2 regional directors, so I oversee the East Coast side of the program, and my counterpart out in San Diego oversees the West Coast side. Throughout the country, we have 6 managers, 6 different teams who oversee the team of specialists. Those specialists are the career coaches. They're the ones that are really doing the heavy lifting. They're the ones that are working with warriors and working with them to get their resume up to par. They're working on how to conduct mock interviews with them, how to network, how to search for jobs, all these different things that we may or may not have experience doing. I look at like my personal experience. Being in the Navy for 22 years, I never had to have a resume. I never had to interview for a job. It was a completely foreign experience for me when I got out. And if you have somebody out there who will hold your hand and help you through it, that's huge. And I think that's something that we pride ourselves on. So with our career coaches out there, they're out there doing what they can. That first slide I put up there, every warrior that we serve is unique. Everybody has a different set of needs, values. We can't tell them what they're going to be when they grow up. We have a lot of corporate relationships. We try to connect warriors with the opportunities that we think they're going to be a good fit with. But again, it goes back to that empowering aspect that we want to make sure that we're helping them make themselves as marketable as possible, help with that networking. So much you need to understand is it's not how well you do, it's who you know. And that networking aspect, I think I've seen statistics as high as 80% of the jobs are gained through networking. It's probably even higher. And you'll hear a lot of different talk, but coming to events like this, building your network, connecting with with people who may or may not have connections. It may not be that direct connection. It may be that secondary connection that gets you there. One of the other things that we use historically, we've always been very good and prided ourselves on our ability to serve warriors. That relationship management with the warriors has been something that's been really good. We haven't been as good at serving employers, and that's something that we realized, and we've made a lot of strides to try and improve that. One of the things that we implemented in the last 1.5 years was we actually had Monster develop an internal job board for us. And one of the issues we had with serving the employers was we would get all these job leads that they wanted to hire a veteran, they wanted to hire a warrior for. And our process was we would send that email out to all the specialists who would send it to the warriors that they were working with, who may or may not have a good resume. Then they'd have to tailor the resume. And by the time they got all the information back to them, a lot of times those jobs were already filled. So I think there was a level of frustration. Now we can proactively work with the employers, find jobs that have been vetted that we know they want to hire a veteran. They want to hire somebody who has those transferable skills and those intangibles that we all know that the veteran population possesses. And now we can post it, and now the warriors can see that, and we can work with them to try and get them into those connections. Again, it's amazing when you see, and Hiring Our Heroes is a fantastic partner, and the connections they have in the employers at the national level is unparalleled. So it's one of those things where you use those resources that are out there, fill them up in your toolbox. We realize that we are one program that's helping a population of wounded warriors, but there are other organizations doing a lot of very similar things, and it goes back to that collaborative mindset that, you know, we work with other organizations, and if you have more people in your corner helping you, the more the better. You may find someone who may be able to connect you to somebody that has connections that are going to lead to that ultimate golden path. So we really try to strive for that collaborative environment and help people get to those jobs. Some of the events that we put on, we'll bring in employers to try and talk about the jobs that they have, try and make those connections. In the previous, when we were allowed out, we'd have an office in our we have an event in our office where we have about 15 or so warriors come in with an employer who has jobs, and maybe interview on the spot and make those handoffs a personal connection, so that it's not just sitting behind your computer and applying to jobs that you may or may not know anybody and wondering why you're not getting a response on there. We've also been able to partner with some organizations like Deloitte has been a fantastic partner in providing these employment boot camps for us. They put them on, and they bring in some of their partners and some of their teammates who come in and talk about all the different skills that you know we talk about at our career coaching or transition specialist level, but when they hear it from someone else, then it really resonates. So we work with them. Direct Employers is another partner that we've worked with and put on these large-scale virtual hiring events where we bring people together with employers that are looking to hire veterans and just trying to make those connections. In the grand scheme of things, it's been a very success. The program is really thriving right now. Even with everything that's going on right now, we have employers reaching out to us to try and staff positions that we just actually filled. Over the weekend, we got a call on Friday afternoon from, it's a government contractor who's trying to source these decontamination stations, and they were interviewing people over the weekend, and they interviewed, they made offers yesterday, and they start tomorrow. So there are people being hired. One of the things that really impressed our team was they don't even have the final destination for where some of these positions are going to be, but they're basically going to be on the front line of the COVID-19 battleground. So what they're doing is they're going through the training on how to set up all these different things. They're filling positions as site leaders and safety officers. And it's good to see that those opportunities are out there. And there are people that want to hire veterans and want to hire service members. So the market, even when you see all the negativity and all the jobs being lost and everything, there are going to be jobs where, as we get through this, there's going to be new environments, new industries growing out of it. And we get it. We, so far this year, we've placed 942 warriors. I updated that just before the call. And right now we have 1,085 open cases. So across the country, there's a lot of people that are looking for jobs, and we're here to make that connection, make that handshake and warm handoff. So again, from a perspective of the Warriors to Work program, it's one of our core programs that within our economic empowerment and financial wellness focus area. We've had some other programs come and go that were kind of in the same space, but really we recognize people are always going to need jobs, and to be able to help people out and help them make those connections, it's very rewarding for us. And again, as I talked about our programs evolving, our program as it stands today, in 2 years from now, may evolve to the next level. The nice thing is it's always moving forward, and we're always looking for best practices and how we can better serve people like you. So that's pretty much my pitch on Warriors to Work and financial wellness. We can move on to the next couple slides. The Independence Program, I believe, that's one of our programs that really serves a very small but important demographic. These are those with moderate to severe traumatic brain injuries or spinal cord injuries, and what we want to do is live life on their own terms. We help them with modifications to their home and providing home care, whatever it takes to keep them in that independent status rather than having to be put into a home. So that's a program that you may hear about in one of our other presentations. Next slide. Government relations. Honestly, this is really one of our connections to hiring our heroes. our team up in DC does a lot of advocacy, and there's a lot of things that we do. We talk about our programs serving the post 9/11 generation, but through our advocacy, we're actually serving all generations. When you look at some of the focus areas, there's 5 different focus areas that are policy priorities. You can see them on the slide there. Mental health and suicide prevention, physical health and wellness, caregiver and veteran health, military readiness, and the military transition. These are all beyond just the post 9/11 generation. We get it that, we had to have a start point with our programs, but we now also, through our resource center, we have resources and connections now that if we don't serve those populations through direct services, we now have handoffs that we can pass them on to other programs, other organizations who may be able to serve them better than we can. So government relations is a program that really is powerful. They have a lot of advocacy. They've talked about some of the burn pit legislation, some of the other stuff that's going on. You see them in the news, and really they help us make some of these relationships that from my world, from the employment world, really helps open up some of the doors for some of the warriors. So that's with the government relations. Next slide is really our calling card, our resource center. Our resource center actually is located in both Jacksonville and San Antonio. We have 2 teams in Jacksonville and 1 in San Antonio. We discovered the need for the one in San Antonio after one of the hurricanes came through Jacksonville, and we had to do a continuity of ops plan. So what the resource center does is they have a huge database of resources that we vetted, that we know are out there. When we talked about people needing service dogs or legal assistance or things like that, call to the resource center. We'll get you pointed in the right direction. We got the phone number there, the email. If you go to the website, you can learn a lot. We've been updating our website. We're actually about to transition to a new platform soon. We'll see how that goes. But the information is out there. And what I just want to be here for is a resource for you. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Realize you've already seen, if you haven't, pay attention to some of the LinkedIn presentations. That is the primary networking social media platform that's out there. Everybody that's on there wants to either help find a job. If they're not looking for a job themselves, they understand why it's there. It's not a Facebook, it's not an Instagram, but LinkedIn is definitely a valuable platform to help you build your network and hopefully get to where you want to ultimately end up with employment and following it, starting that next career. So with that, those are all the slides I have, I believe. Now I'm open to questions. And again, like I said, I'm very proud of my time with Wounded Warrior Project, and I think we're always looking to try and open up our services to serve more, to connect with more people. So if there's anything that I or we can do to help you, please ask away.
Kevin, we do have a question in the queue. It's regarding eligibility for the programming. Can you just expand a little bit more on, who is eligible and who else you work with, who you might refer those to, who aren't necessarily considered quote unquote eligible for the Warriors to Work program? Yeah.
So once you get in register as a registered alumni, which is who we call all of our warriors, because of that shared experience, the primary criteria is the post 9/11 generation. So post 9/11, and then when you start talking about the injury or illness, a lot of times it's not really anything that's like, if you have a VA letter, that's an easy one. But sometimes if they can demonstrate that they participated in a campaign at some point, all those criteria are contributing factors, variables that help with that decision. Honestly, if you are in the post 9/11 generation, it's very rare to have anybody turned away. A lot of times what we do, it's a very simple process. The registration form online is only a few questions, and they guide you through it. We have a registration team based in Jacksonville that helps you walk through it. So it's pretty simple to actually get through the process. I see not being active for Title X orders. That's not a problem. One of the things that when we looked at the original charter or whatever, we only served combat wounded veterans. Then we opened it up to combat and training related. Then we opened it up to just all veterans. And we realized that, if you've made that pledge to serve, if you volunteered to go above and beyond, from 1973, we've been an all volunteer force. and we're a very small percentage of the population who actually serves. So if you have taken that oath that you're going to serve, and if you have any issues, call. And I think one of the other things that we also like to do, as I said, with our partners is if we can't serve you, we're going to find someone who can. And a lot of times that's geographic. Again, our national headquarters is in Jacksonville, but our database is global. We actually have some teammates over in Germany. We have a presence over there that serves the European warriors up in Landstuhl as they're coming off the battlefield. But I think we're always looking to expand. We're looking for areas. So where we have our brick and mortar offices set up right now, and you can find them on our website, are basically tied to a heat map of where the veteran populations are. And we also have some teammates that may not be in a brick and mortar office, but they're in our field teams. Like Los Angeles is an example of that, in that we had an office in Los Angeles, but with the traffic and everything like that, and our teammates were always out and about in the field, it didn't make sense to maintain that office. So we have teammates that are actually out in the field in those areas. We're looking for growth. I think right now we're in a very strong position. I know we're getting ready to roll out working on another strategic plan. And one of the things we're looking at is the migration patterns of warriors and where they're going. And I know Soldier for Life does a great job of identifying where soldiers are getting out and where they're going to move to. Do they stay where they got out, or do they go back to their home of record, or do they go where the job is? And that's one of the things that we're very interested in trying to adapt our programs so that we're there to serve whenever and wherever you are.
Thanks, Kevin. I think the takeaway here is often it's misunderstood that there are not very strict left-right limitations to programming and services, particularly with the service organizations out there. So that's very helpful, I think, for the audience to understand. With our programming, with your programming, again, very rarely are we going to turn somebody away because they're coming to us, with a need, and we're going to do our best to serve that need. And if we're not able to, then absolutely we will refer them to a partner. So thank you for clarifying that. There's another question wondering when is the earliest that somebody can start to engage with Warriors to Work while still on active duty?
We get that question a lot, and one of the things that we want to make sure that there's a sweet spot of, if you're too early and you're looking at jobs that aren't going to be there when you get out, that's at least too early. Start thinking about it. I know when I transitioned, one of the things that was helpful to me was about a year out, I started thinking about what I wanted to do. I still don't think I've really figured out what I want to be when I grow up, but eventually I'll get there. But you want to start early enough that if you need to go through some sort of training, if you want to get your PMP, or if you want to get some certifications that are out there, if you start while you're still in active duty, there's a lot of opportunities through the Skill Bridge program. Through Syracuse has a their Institute for Veterans and Military Families programs provides a lot of certification-based education out there. Depending on what you want to do, you can start, I would say, a year out trying to figure that out. But the closer you get, really when you start looking at when you're at your terminal leave, or when you have an actual separation date, that's when we can really start working with you closely. Because a lot of times, a lot of the job opportunities we have are jobs to be filled right now. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're a couple weeks, couple months away, we can talk to you, but we have to manage those expectations that say, like, I get it. We can start working on your resume right now, but if we put it in front of anybody, they're going to be looking to hire you right now. So we'll keep that in mind. These are some of the relationships, and it allows us to continue to look for what else is out there. And we're always getting new partners out there too, which has been something that I've really found. I think maybe it's part of our job board. We get a lot of unsolicited employers reaching out to us to want to hire veterans. And I think that's something, like, people doing business development. This is shooting fish in a barrel. And we have so many employers that want to hire veterans that we could never fill with all the veterans that are looking for jobs out there. And I think that it's just a matter of finding that right fit. And that's one of the things that we really want to try and do, is find what's best, because sometimes your first job may not be that long-term solution. There's a lot of statistics out there about your first job only lasts a few months because there's an imperfect fit. Sometimes you're overqualified. Sometimes you get out there and realize there's so much more out there. So that's where, when you start talking to the specialists and the career coaches out there, talk to people. It's all about making those connections. And once you get that end date or you're getting ready to go on terminal leave, then by all means, like, be working with someone who can start getting your resume in front of an employer to start paving that way. And again, for us, to register as an alumni with us, we have active duty service members who are registered alumni. They have the paperwork, they have the letter that can demonstrate that there was an issue. And again, with our benefits folks, they can get much more in depth in that, because that's really the sweet spot for them. One of the things we discovered about 2 years ago, we were looking at some of the demographics of those we were serving, and we realized that the Warriors had been out of the service for about 5.5 years. And we were wondering, what were they doing those 5.5 years? Were they not working? We figured with the demographic we served, maybe there was some rehabilitation time, maybe there's a little bit of gap, but what were they doing? So now we're asking the question. We're trying to get better connected with the Soldier for Life programs and the TAP programs and everything, that while you're still on active duty, we can connect with you now and be able to help in that transition and not let you go suffer on your own to try and figure it out and then end up coming back and finding that longer term solution earlier on.
Great. And yeah, so again, basically in a nutshell, it's never too early to start planning. By all means, start reaching out now. You set up that LinkedIn profile, have your resume up to date, so it's literally just editing it and not building it from the ground up at the last minute. Get in touch with the coaches for that career development and that exploration. Again, go to as many sessions as possible, connect with as many folks as possible, just to learn about all the different industries that are out there. But then the actual job search is closer to the actual separation date. So yes. And the next question, Kevin, I know the answer to this, because again, we work very closely together and we're serving not just the veterans and the service members, but also the military spouses and the caregivers. But the question specifically is about how you are assisting caregivers and military spouses with the employment services as well.
That is one of our priorities. And we understand that serving the spouses, especially in the world that we work in with our family support members, sometimes the warrior is not able to work and the spouse may be the primary breadwinner. We have programs, there's other organizations out there that do a fantastic job. Blue Star Families is a great one that we work closely with. And yes, all of our services are offered for not only the warriors, but the spouses. And we recognize the challenges of a military spouse. Again, I had one for 20 some years who followed me around wherever my career went, and to be that one that's running the home and maybe sacrificing their career to a certain extent to get them to that finish line. There are opportunities out there, and there are employers that love to target military spouses. They recognize the talent that's out there. And I think that's something that there's going to continue to be a focus on. It is one of our strategic priorities. We're focusing on spouses too. So I think that absolutely. And one of the things that I found, like, it's not only with our programs, seeing the children. I mean, if they're 18 and older, we can serve some of them. We had one of the Deloitte boot camps that I mentioned before, where a mother brought her son to the first day of it, and she said she didn't need a job, but he did. So she brought him, he sat through the first day, and then he came through the second day. She didn't show up for the second day, but we serve the family, and we realized that it's not just the individual. And I think that's something that we'll never relax on, because we realize that, a strong family is going to lead to a strong support system, which is going to help on the employment side, and just there's so many benefits on the mental health side, on everything else that's going to lead to greater stability. So no, absolutely. It's a good question though.
Again, it's a family affair. Transition is not just about the service member. Again, it's family service, and transition impacts the entire family, to include the children. So that's great that you have the comprehensive services for everybody and the support. So a follow-on question is, you had mentioned a warm handoff. Again, if you could touch back on the case management that's provided by the coaches, the Warriors to Work coaches. What can alumni expect with the interaction with the coaches?
Yeah, that's a great question. I had that on one of my notes. Typically our process, we are a referral-based program. we don't go out and actively market ourselves like, let us help you find a job. We get plenty of business through referrals from our other programs. What I talked about, those operation check-in calls. Anytime we're hosting an event, we talk about our other programs. So just like I did, I mentioned our other programs. We get referrals that will be sent to our system. We have a team of 4 coordinators that basically do the triage on it. And what they'll do is they'll reach out to whoever is seeking the services. They'll do a quick program introduction, we call it, orientation, whatever you want to call it. But it's a generalized program brief. Make sure that what they're looking for is what the services we can provide. They'll gather some information. If they have a resume, great. If they don't, we'll give you a template to figure out, a worksheet. We actually have a professional resume service through Randstad RiseSmart that they'll professionally generate a resume. And then once we get that information, we pass you off to a specialist, which is the career transition coach. They're going to do a lengthy discovery call where they're going to try and find out what kind of industries you may be interested in, what your background. Have some probing questions. We're trying to use some creative assessment tools. Right now we're using ONET, which is it's a tool. It's maybe not the best tool, but it's a good tool right now, and there's some benefit. If you don't know what you want to do, what you want to be when you grow up, it helps guide you in some different directions. So we're using assessment tools to try and help figure out what that path is. Once you get through that discovery, then we can start as a specialist looking for those opportunities and helping you with networking. We may give you an assignment to go attend a networking event. And even now with everything shut down, there's still virtual networking events. But get out there and connect and see what else is out there. Talk to people. Optimize your LinkedIn profile. We'll work with you to make sure that is all looking good and that all the best practices are being adhered to. So we'll work with you on that. We'll also start sending job leads. We'll send you a link to our job board to start looking for opportunities there. We'll start working with you to work on some best practices on interview techniques. Right now, like Zoom is a online or virtual interviewing is the way that we're doing everything right now. So the fact that you're participating in an online webinar like this, you've already got a little bit of experience. But it's something that in the past people have been very foreign. I mean, I guess my background's relatively sanitized. Mona has a great background that's nice and professional. But when you look at the environment where you're interviewing it and being professional and dressing for success, there's a lot of information to impart on someone who's searching for a job. That said, there's a lot, those that we serve come to us at different levels of readiness. We have some that may have been working in an industry, especially right now, and they may have been laid off. They may have a great resume. They may have tons of experience. They just need some job leads. Then we have the other side that has, like I said, never had a resume, never had to interview for a job, don't know what they want to do, and we have to really do that deep, high-touch service of helping them figure that out. Again, when I talk about we don't want to enable, we want to empower, we want to make sure that the decision is theirs, what they want to do. It's not what we think you should be when you grow up. It's what you think you should be when you grow up.
And so, Kevin, I want to follow up on something that you had mentioned about a lot of virtual opportunities. And, obviously we are in a very unique situation right now, one that we are just navigating day by day. For one, obviously being here on this virtual platform together, pivoting very quickly to be able to reach those that we serve through these web-based tools. What are you seeing and what are you hearing from your partners in terms of virtual hiring, the onboarding process right now? What can we let the job seekers know that is still happening, from a virtual standpoint?
Yeah, I think, some of the stuff in the media you can believe. Obviously some of the restaurants, bars, and transportation industry, the airlines, all those industries that used to be very robust are not hiring right now. But there's a lot of industries that are. I talked about like those in support of COVID-19, the medical, the Amazons of the world that are hiring, all those that are delivering all the stuff, all the grocery stores. A lot of these opportunities that are out there are looking for talent. They're looking to hire people. And right now, maybe they're looking for temporary fills, but we don't know how long this is going to go on. And what we've seen in the past is if you prove yourself, we see this a lot in contract work or temp to perm hires, where if you get an opportunity to show your skills in front of someone who is going to be hiring, now you're a known quantity. So if you take a job with something that you may just think is temporary, you like it, they like you, that may lead to a long-term solution. We are seeing a lot of the people that are contacting us. Some of the financial services industries are reaching out to us. There's a lot of discussion about mortgages and refinancing, and people that are going to be struggling. They're going to be looking for people to help out with those processes. I think that the logistics industry is something that a lot of service members will gravitate towards. There's a lot of people with those backgrounds. Here in Jacksonville, it's huge. We have the confluence of the sea, and we have the rail with CSX being headquartered here, and I-95 and I-10 intersect here. So logistics is a huge business down here in Jacksonville. You have to look at the industries where you are too. If you're a mobile, if you really will go wherever the job is, that opens up your opportunities to a whole wide scope of great potential opportunities out there. If you're restricting yourself by geography, one of the things tools we'll look at is make 3 circles. If you know what you want to do, how much you want to make, and where you want to do it, if you know 2 of the 3, you can usually figure out the third one. But it's one of those things where you have to know your environment, and that's one of the things we can help with, is kind of that market analysis of who is hiring, and it's different. Right now, again, we're seeing a lot of those temporary jobs, but 2 months ago, it was a completely different landscape out there. And I think hiring our heroes with their relationships with the Chamber of Commerce and the employers that are out there, they know they're the ones that have these jobs to offer. Some of them right now are taking advantage of this time to interview people and be ready, so that when we do come out of this, now we've got the talent all primed and ready to go. We can just make that decision and we'll hire them, and all our problems will be solved.
Absolutely. So here's another question. As far as, again, there are over 60,000 different service organizations out there for various support for the military community. We know it sometimes feels like a needle in a haystack, or just a random Google search. But one of the questions in the queue is asking for advice in terms of selecting the right fit for career and transition coaching services. We know there are many out there in the space. I'll particularly say from Hiring Our Heroes, obviously, there is no bad service out there. We obviously work more closely with some versus others in terms of complementary services. It is something that's a personal fit, but I think it's a lot of doing research, making connections, talking to your peer group. Again, that peer referral is very strong. But Kevin, I'll let you address this as well.
Yeah, one of the things to realize is none of us are in competition with each other. All the nonprofits, the veteran service organizations, are there to serve you. We're not trying to take business away from one of the other career placement transition services. When we talk about the placements we make, we could work with somebody in another organization, you work with somebody, we could both capture that placement for our metrics, but it's really not about the numbers. The numbers are just numbers. It's the story behind the numbers that's more important, and that story is you. I mean, it's how did we impact you? So you may find someone is a better personality fit. We see that in my empire building world. I would like to have 2 specialists in each of our offices, just they can complement each other. Sometimes it's a communication type. We analyze people's DISC styles, which is kind of like a Myers-Briggs, but on your communication styles. And some people communicate easier with other communication styles. So if you have a diverse population, doesn't work with one person, you send them over to someone else. And I think it's the same thing with organizations. You have different VSOs, veteran service organizations, have different networking connections. They have people that, depending on geography, depending on who they work with, depending on who funds them, who some of their partners are, it's all about what's best for you. And I think that we actually help. We work closely with a lot of organizations that do very similar things to what we do. And again, it's just not about the competition. It's about what's best for you. So just keep that in the back of your mind. They're there to help you. If you ever feel like they're not having your best interest in mind, maybe it's time to try and find someone else. But we haven't seen a lot of that anywhere.
Exactly. Neither are we. Again, it's partnership across across all the lines. We're definitely all in this together in service. So Kevin, I want to thank you for your time and for joining us and providing all of this valuable information. I would like to let everybody know that we will have a landing page up in the next few days that will have these recorded sessions available for viewing at a future time. And so if you know somebody who missed the session or you want to go back and revisit any of the information, please visit that, but also look at the event calendar for future sessions that we have up and coming. Again, we have more sessions with Wounded Warrior Project, as Kevin mentioned, regarding the wellness space and financial wellness and a host of other services that fall under their comprehensive umbrella. So hiringourheroes.org/events is where you can see our virtual events calendar. It's updated weekly as the schedule continues to grow. Tonight at 7 p.m. though, we do have an information session for active duty service members who are interested in the Hiring Our Heroes Corporate Fellowship Program. So please feel free to take a look at that. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. for any of the small business owners who are out there, both veteran and military spouse, our Vice President of Small Business Policy from the Chamber of Commerce, as well as our President of Hiring Our Heroes and Vice President at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce are going to present a session on resources for small businesses in relation to the CARES Act and support to get through this COVID-19 period. Thursday is our industry day where we are going to have sessions on opportunities in cybersecurity, defense, and also a presentation by Indeed on leveraging the Indeed platform for your virtual job search. And then on Friday, we will have career opportunities in tech with Salesforce. So again, full week of programming. Wounded Warrior Project will be back next week. And so again, Kevin, thank you again for your time and all of your information. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. And we hope to see you again at another session. So stay well, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Mona. Thanks for everybody.